Hold on, y'all. Let me get my camera angle straight. All right. I got to make sure I got everybody today. Let me make sure. All right. Hi, everybody.
Salam.
Salam alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody who is observing Ramadan. Um, Honor and respect to my teacher, Sheikh Aid, whether you're watching, whether you're not. I always honor my teacher. I know he is observing Ramadan in this season. So Ramadan Kareem, all my family in Shikib Al Salam. All right. So yesterday I got a couple of good questions, right? So one of the questions I got was people kind of getting they were trying to pin down the days and how what day is what day. And the one thing I want to say is there's an overlap. Each day has its inspection and transition period, right? So at the end of the first day, right after Adam is passed, then there's the transition from Methuselah. Then Noah comes along. He's got to get prepared, get ready, build the ark, get on it. There's a whole process. And the Most High is in no hurry.
Yes.
So he understands the time it takes for you to do something. And he understands that if you move in a proper fashion, not in a hasty way, but you understand the assignment and you start taking the little steps. I got to knock these things out so I can make my move. Then you will not have any delays. You will be ready at the appointed time. Okay. Now the Most High comes. It is now the end of the second day, and the Most High comes down and he comes to visit Abraham.
Yes. Yes.
What? But it's the transition point. So it is the end of the second day, the beginning of the third. So there is this overlap. And what do you see after I finish covenanting Abraham and bringing him in and separating him from among the rest of the people, designating him, his seed, and everybody else, and this is the covenants that I'm making with him.
Yes.
Then he turns around and he goes, "Okay, hey, all right, we got Sodom and Gomorrah over here. They doing what the hell they want to do. I'm gonna go over here and check this out because I've heard the cries come up about all the stuff they doing in my land. So I'm gonna deal with this. All right, okay, all right. And then there's lights in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot molten fire. The Most High's bombs and missiles. So now you can see his process of steps is as he sees fit. It don't always happen at the end. It can happen in the middle of the day. I'll do this thing because the 7-day process is also it's 7 days. There's 7 weeks.
Yeah. 7 years.
There's 7 years.
Yeah.
Then there's 7 weeks of years. And what he's doing is he's saying, listen, my process is the same.
Yes.
And he's overlapping it and overlaying it, right? I'll show you how this works. How many pennies in a dime?
Why you hit me with the math question? Ooh.
How many pennies?
Pennies in a dime. Yeah, 10.
Okay.
Ooh.
10. How many dimes in a dollar?
See, that's the one I was ready for.
10.
That's the one I had in my head. 10.
Okay. How many dollars in $10?
How many dollars in $10? 10.
10. Okay. How many $10 in $100?
10.
10. Okay.
Now wait a minute. Didn't you ask her how many pennies
And
in
a
a dollar?
dime.
You asked me that.
How many pennies in a
And then you
dime?
asked her how many pennies,
How many dimes
how many dimes.
in a dollar?
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Now, how many $100 in 1,000?
10.
You see how I'm just taking this basic, simple math that you understand, and I'm telling you, the 7 days, it goes down to the penny, right? 7 days, and then it comes all the way out to 7,000 years. So when the Most High does something, He will move within
That time.
that framework.
Yeah.
But it's always okay. When I come, if something is not clean, not in order, wipe it smooth from the face of the earth. Now, for the things that is in order, because He comes down to make covenant.
Yes.
What? I'm looking to see who's going to do what I want at this time in this generation. So when He's looking and He says, I found a man who will do that which I want to see accomplished, He makes covenant with him. Then, at the same time, okay, you will be good. Follow my instruction and continue in my word.
Yes.
As for this filth over here, I want to burn it all down.
Yes.
Remove it, utterly destroy it. But first make good inquiry to make sure it is exactly what I am hearing that it is.
Investigation.
Thorough investigation. So now, we are here at this time in history.
Yes.
Not only did I spend my time in the land, but I went back to the States. Not that I wanted to, but I had to go and make inquiry. And I kept the law in the States. And you want to know what? When I got back, you want to know what? You know what they told me over there?
What?
They don't want to do this. When I said, even we can do it here, let us join hands, they wouldn't. You remember? You remember, right? She was with me. So when I checked, there was little to none or none that I met. Now, my brother is there.
He's about to be spit out too.
Yeah, he's coming out too,
He's
but
about to be spit out like you were.
I'm telling you,
We got spat, okay?
Yes, spit out.
when my brother is taken out, the mercies will have ended. And you say, why is it on him? Says, because just like Lot, I taught him in the law. I taught him, and he was tested and did prove faithful.
He's the messenger for delivery.
So, I'm telling you, you guys think, oh, he's just making it up. Go check your newspaper today. NATO just moved troops into Ukraine, and Europe just sent over nuclear weapons.
See, the thing is, they assume because it's happening over there,
It won't happen where
it's
they
not
are.
happening with them.
You have no idea what you are talking about.
Right.
Listen, I don't have to harp on this. You want to know why? I just got to tell you what it is. I'm not over there with you. But our war gonna be over there. There's an instruction for how I'm supposed to be over here. I'm telling you, you ain't gonna be able to get here once it starts.
You know, brother and sister, what they fail to realize, that yes, war is going to be over here. But the promise of utter destruction is for there.
Over there.
It's not
Over
for here.
I got work to do.
Yeah.
See, I have to go do what Adam did and turn the desert back into the Garden of Eden. A desert. It's dry. Well, not recently. It's been raining a lot. It's very green right now.
Yeah.
But is the desert. We just started getting this kind of rain. That's why everybody's talking about it all over. The meadows is coming back, which means I can bring back the trees, which means I can grow food and I can do what I'm supposed to do. How you plan on doing that, Doc? One step at a time, one day at a time. All I got to do is keep the instruction for today. Right? I told my sister I work on finishing a thing. Don't work on many things. Do this, complete it. Get the understanding, then do the next thing and completion. Right? You don't want to be trying to prove yourself and advance, and you end up missing and stumbling over basic materials that you need and steps that you need for advanced things. You see? I got 7 days right, then I got 7 weeks right. See? Then from there, I got 7 years right. I just built upon it, being faithful over the smallest things first. So rather than jump out to the feast days, right? Everybody want to focus on feast days and Shabbats. These things come contingent upon two things. Two,
Yes.
the festival days and Shabbats are together. Those are one. But to keep those, you must have land and resources. That's one. And the other thing you're going to need is to come together under one teacher. Right? Yes, we have to make leaders. Yes, I have to make cheese. I can do all of that. That is easy. That is very simple. But everyone must be an exact replica of how I am in the law. We have one order. Just one. You will not be me. Not me. You have your space. But in how you are diligent in it and faithful and dedicated to it, this like me. You don't want to flip flop and, right? You got to learn how to walk through frustration, difficulty. You got to learn how to listen. There's so many small instructions that will be given, and you will deem them unimportant until all of a sudden it is important. Well, that's our time for the opening this morning. How's everybody doing? I got my lovely wife Kaya here today. This was a surprise to me. I didn't know she was coming.
Surprise.
And you know my sister, so this is Kafaya, this is Arabia. I'm Rabbi Sheikh for now. Rabbi Sheikh is just the title. It's not my name. All right. So let's talk about where we left off yesterday.
We are at Code Genesis, starting at 1926.
Bereshit 19 and 26. So we're going to start back at verse 25. All right. Got my wife here. Go ahead. You read.
And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and the herbage of the earth.
I promise you, you will see this. Because I'm going to see it. I'm all the way over here. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the promises. It says, on the day I bring out judgment this time, everyone will hear it from where they are. So we're going to hear it. I'm going to hear it. I know what it sounds like. I've witnessed it in my time here. The sirens, the explosions, right? The fighting, the rioting in the streets. you think you ready? Okay, you don't listen. If you won't be here doing what the Most High says do, I promise you, you gotta do it. Next, keep reading.
And his wife looked after the angel to know what would be in the end of her father's house.
Okay, so the wife wanted to take care about the angel, and she wanted to know, what about my daddy and his house? You guys don't understand the importance of houses. Your idea of a house is the place where you live. No, the house is a township. It's a community. It's a neighborhood where the majority is your family. You guys own it, you develop it, you care for it. It is a place of dominion. So every house is a very small kingdom. So within the house of Israel, right, there are 12 nations. Those 12 nations are confederate in a united kingdom of Jerusalem. Now, I just use that as an example, but there is the 12 of Esau and the 12 of Ishmael as well within this entirety of the kingdom. Well, when they coming in? When they come in.
When you coming in.
Right, you not. You supposed to be the head, and you keep asking them about what they doing.
But
You not even doing what you supposed to be doing.
That's right, yeah.
So, as I begin this walk, right, this daba, we will gain more people. We will gain more strength. This is inevitable, right? So she's looking after the angel because she wanted to care for her father's house. So I wanted to ask you a question, right? If a righteous man is given land,
Yes.
an inheritance, and he has full possession of it, okay? My question is, what power or authority does the king have over him?
Remember, sir.
You have a lawful and righteous man
Right.
upon his possession, his inheritance. What power or authority does the king have over him?
The same, right?
The king have no authority over him. He is righteous. If I come to him with need out of anything that is necessary, he give out of his righteousness.
Oh,
I don't have any authority over a righteous man.
no authority.
See? The righteous man upon his possession, functioning in righteousness, is subject to the same law. He is in order, he is in his place, doing what he is supposed to be doing. There is nobody to correct him.
As long as he's following the same
He's doing
way,
the
he's doing the
same thing. Once I receive an instruction, if I give the new instruction, this is what the Most High says to do. If he's going to return to his land and continue in righteousness, he's going to do as he told. It's not as if I made him or forced him. There is no wickedness in him. He understands where he sits in his place. I have no authority to do anything to that man.
Right, because he's walking in
He's walking in righteousness. He has rendered judgment or the recompense for wickedness void. There is no way to enforce anything. Touch not my anointed. He is king on his land. He is anointed in the memra in which he is doing service. There is nothing to tell him. Nothing.
Wow.
So if you're afraid of being corrected, 9 times out of 10, it's because you're not doing with any amount of diligence the fullness of what you could or should be doing.
So that's being your brother's keeper.
Right. If I'm correcting you because I'm trying to get you out of the way of the favor of the judgment of wickedness.
Smoke.
You see, I'm trying to get you out of the way of that. I don't want you to get hit with the reward for wickedness. So my correction is to get a man out of wickedness into righteousness. However, should he further add to his ignorance with presumption, then there is the recompense. So now if a man is wicked, say we have a town, and in this town, in this village, they have decided to do some abominable things like rape and molest, and it's become like unto Sodom. No. But the instruction says after we have taken good investigation, we're going to go there and we're going to visit and be as tourists and just enjoy, right? All the time watching to see what's going on here. And when we see it, we don't partake, we leave. Then we gather the army round about and the people, maybe from the next town, and say, this town has this. This is what we found. Here is the inquiry, here's the judgment, and kill everybody and burn the whole place to the ground and stick a sign. In this place was the workers of wickedness. And let this sign remain in memorial of them, so that none follow after the wickedness which was done here. You see? But wickedness brings you under, right? It brings force against you. So while I'm teaching and I'm telling you the law, it is increasingly making you guilty because the simple things which need be done are not done as yet. In the day that you hear my law, hearken to it. So, if you think about it, there was time when they came out of Egypt and they had to study the law, right? You don't know? It'll be proven later when we get to Exodus. So the ones who studied came out and they became leaders. The ones who didn't know were forced to follow the step-by-step process as time went about. It took them some 40 years before they got a promotion. Why? Because you had to wait for the ones who had got promoted and coming out to die off and then appoint a whole new generation. We'll be back after this.
Interesting.
Okay? So, moving forward, continue reading.
For she was of the daughters of the, how would you pronounce that? Sidome?
Yes, the daughter of the
Sodomy. And because she sinned by salt, Bimilcha, she was manifestly punished. Behold, she was made a statue of salt.
Ah. So because she broke the salt covenant.
Okay, his wife was a daughter of a Sodomy. She was from Sodom. And because she looked back to Sodom, she got turned into
Right.
salt.
Now, in looking back, she's breaking a covenant. So, because she sinned, so I got to tell you, this is a cultural thing. If I bring you in as a guest and I feed you and I give you a place to stay for the night or for any amount of time, and we eat them together, everything I make is lawful. Right? When you leave my house, you have no right to break
Covenant.
our friendship because there is salt between us. This is a Bedouin saying, the bimilka. There is salt between us. So you'll see Abraham is consistently using this salt covenant. When you read the law, you'll find out that the Levite covenants
Yes, used to salt.
for the administration unto the people is a salt covenant. Because you eat with the Levites. So keeping the Shabbat and the feast days, you are sharing with him in that salt covenant.
Because the salt is in the food?
The salt is in the food.
So that's why when you're cooking, even at home, you're making oblations with using the salt binds.
Exactly. So now when you're looking at it, and Leviticus chapter 2, verse 13. Here, you read it, sis. Go ahead. Skip over and go to Leviticus chapter 2, verse 13.
So, okay. And every oblation
And what?
and every oblation.
Well, not this, because, this chicken.
No, every oblation.
No, not this pheasant.
Every oblation.
No, because this quail.
Every
This
oblation.
deer.
Every
So
oblation.
it does not matter what we are cooking, be it meat or otherwise. Every oblation of thy minka thou shalt salt with salt. Thou shalt not withhold the salt of thy covenant of thy Allah from thy minka.
Minka. Oh my goodness.
You see? So when the Most High came and ate of Abraham's food, the Most High has no need to eat. He sends his holy fire down, and the holy fire consumes that which is the Most High's portion, keeping the salt between us. However, the Most High will not partake in anything that is unappointed. It is abominable.
Yeah, because when the angels came to the city and Lot was at the gate,
They didn't eat with Luke.
they didn't eat.
They looked like
They had already ate.
they'd already ate. But they didn't eat with Luke. They just move it to the side. However, with Abraham sat down and watched to see that they would consume it. When it is burnt up, consumed by the holy fire. Why? Same ordinance as the priesthood. The Most High has shown favor upon what he has offered and consumed it. So the idols in Babel, when he offered them food, they don't eat.
Yes.
When the Most High comes and he offers him food, the Most High sent holy fire to eat it. Now the holy fire consumes it. There is salt, agreement, a salt covenant, this forever, this for preservation between us.
So her sin was against.
She had broke the agreement when the angel said, leave and leave this way, and they agreed, and then the angels appeared to have eaten. There is a covenant. It cannot be broken. So now when you see this salt covenant, every wedding have what added?
Salt.
Food. This salt.
Food.
This food is a salt covenant that your wedding bonds may not be broken. Right? And when people die, there is food.
Yes.
Right? The food at a funeral is given on behalf of the soul of the dead. This is part of our customs and traditions in giving them an extension of mercy of the salt covenant. It's a covenant of salt. Salt is the binding
So like
element.
when we go to restaurants, on the tables there is salt. Wow.
Salt is the binding covenant making thing. We have salt here, which goes in the incense, and we call it Saba. Right? Bir Saba. Right? The number 7, Saba. You see? This is the salt. And so now when the Most High says, I will keep this covenant with you, now this is the important part. He's not accepting food grown by other people. If you need to eat this, you need to eat this. Do not offer it to me because I will not accept. It will profane my altar. The Most High have no covenant with them. The Most High have covenant with them through us. So they have to come to us, come to be in our house. They not coming to us to be in our house now. They have everything. However, in a little while, their house will come crumbling down. And the first thing people need is food. There is a stipulation. If you come here for these things, you're going to have to bless my God, walk in my way, and keep my law. This is my covenant with my God. So when she broke the salt covenant, she got turned to a pillar of salt.
Wow.
Continue.
And Abraham arose in the morning and went to the place where he had ministered in prayer before Yah. And he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain and saw, and behold, the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace.
So this one day, he made covenant with Abraham yesterday, and today, everything and smoke, fire, and everything has been done. Judgment rendered and finished. One day. You see it? Do you see it?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long nuclear war take to finish?
That's 7 hours.
7 hours. If you don't believe me, look it up. Google it. Nuclear war only take 7 hours. And if it happens during the daytime in your nation, it will be nighttime here. I can go to bed one night and wake up tomorrow
Gone.
and everything is over. Now, you may not believe. I never asked you for belief. Never asked you for belief, because what you believe is based upon, you think that it requires you to think a thing for it to be. You're not God. I'm telling you facts. You're looking for how long does nuclear war take? Okay. You're going to say, how long does nuclear war last? Okay. Nuclear winter lasts 4 years. So don't look for nuclear war. You say, how long to fire all nuclear weapons? So it takes them what?
Well, for one, it looks like about 15 minutes for one submarine.
Okay, so one submarine takes 15 minutes. So type in.
My bad, sis. I was curious.
No.
So type in from the first nuclear weapon fired.
Because they think that he's just talking.
I know. That's
You
what
know, they don't.
They love doing that too.
Yeah, they didn't think it's just talk. You know, it was like that in the days of Noah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the day of Noah was a second flood. There was a first one. There's only a third that was flooded.
Right.
Then there was a full-fledged flood. Then we get fire with Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, because Zor got spared. And you know, they think this is all games.
talking.
You know, just talking. You know, they don't believe what's about to happen. Instead, they just rather be shaking their booties and dancing and having cookouts and partying and we're good. We're all right.
Oh, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
But they won't understand it until that first one just right in their face. And it's like, oh snap, what do you do?
Well,
And at that time, it'll be too late because it's already in your face.
yeah. Yeah.
That's the 90 seconds. That's still scary.
Well, that's on the doomsday clock. So what I'm looking at is I'll find it. You guys, I want you to continue reading and I'll find this real quick.
Okay. And he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, and saw and behold, the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace. And it was when Yah destroyed the cities of the plain, and he remembered the righteousness of Abraham, and sent forth Lot from the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew
The date is March 4th, 2022.
the cities wherein Lot had dwelt. And Lot went up from Zor and dwelt in the mountain, and his two daughters with him, because he feared to reside in Zor.
So remember, instead of going to Zoar where he promised to go, right? Now he said, I'll go to Zoar. Now the angel said he was going to destroy Zoar, and the first thing, but Noah prayed, and 50 men, and Zoar, and this and Zoar. And then Lot is like, I'll go to Zoar. Then he decides not to go to Zoar and goes into the mountains instead. So what does Lot do? He breaks the covenant. This breaking of the covenant is a problem.
Yeah, it is.
All right. I have found the a video, and I'm gonna see if I can. I will see if I can paste it at the end of the video today. So I'm gonna save this video and I'm gonna post it so you guys can understand how nuclear war and how the fallout will last, I found the video to educate you. So I'll let them tell you. Like rather than me, I'll put it up there to make it easier for you to see what it's like. I mean, I know from my own military experience and background. However, let me give you the information, right? I'll give it to you. So I'll paste the clip at the end of today's class. So Lot goes to the wrong place, breaking the salt covenant again, right? What is this a lack of?
Obedience to the instruction.
This is a lack of integrity. Obedience to instruction is about you obeying an instruction whether you are seen or not.
Lack of integrity.
It's a lack of integrity.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that goes back to the pillars.
One of the pillars, right, that you must have is integrity. There's no integrity, that means the moment the person that you have an agreement with is not looking, you're not doing what you have promised to do. You have broken your word. You have unbonded it. Right? Your word have to be bonded. It must be crystallized. So you have, he goes to the mountains. Now he goes to the mountains, what happens?
Said, go ahead.
I was about to say, sis was reading. You want me to read?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And he dwelt in a cavern, he and his 2 daughters. And the elder said to the less,
So he went into a cave instead. So instead of going to Zoar, he goes into one of the caves in the mountains. And the older daughter,
said to the less, our father is old.
so the older daughter says to the younger daughter, well, our father is old,
And
right?
there is no man in the land.
And there is no man in the land. Where did they get this
Idea.
information from? Oh, because the stories of Noah from Lot have been passed down to his children, teaching them in the law. And so now they're like, well, there's nobody here. It is just us
And Dad.
and our father. Go ahead.
And there is no man in the land to come to us after the way of the whole earth.
And there's nobody in the land to come to us after the way of the whole earth. So if there's no other man here, and he's the last one, we now have to repopulate the earth. Go ahead.
Come, let us make our father drink wine, and when he is drunken, we will lie with him and raise up sons from our father.
Come, let us make our father drink wine. So they brought the wine, they made the wine, they brought it to him, and they made sure it was good and strong.
So everybody in the club get tipsy.
Everybody in the club
Getting
getting tipsy.
Every time I read this, I get sick to my stomach. I do. I can't. I mean, I understand that they thought they was the only ones. I understand their reasoning, but they didn't follow instructions. So, never mind.
Go ahead, continue.
And they made their father drink wine that night, and he was drunk. And the elder arose and lay with her father. Nor did he know when she lay down, nor when she arose.
Wow.
He was blacked out.
He blacked out. He was unconscious. And speak up, speak up. Make sure the people out there can hear you.
And it was the day following, and the elder said to the less, behold now, I lay my evening with the father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, that he may be drunk. And go thou and lie with him, that we may raise up sons from our father.
So the older one, all right, I did it. My turn. All right, now you go
And you do it.
and you do it. This is how you do it. This is what's going to happen. We're going to get them drunk again.
Ooh. Wow, plotting and planning.
I mean, the levels to this.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't even discuss it with him while he was awake.
No,
You
that's what I'm
know,
saying.
like-
The manipulation.
You just get him drunk and just like you.
You know, like how they be putting those little things in people's drinks. You know,
Yeah.
get them laid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing.
They
Nothing
lace the
new.
drink, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And stuff
Lace,
like that.
lace them up.
Okay, now what happens?
And they made their father drink wine that night also. And he was drunk. And the younger arose and lay with him. And he knew not in her lying down, nor in her rising up.
So he blacked out again, and he doesn't know. It's blackout drunk. Like he blacked out and he sleep. So he's knocked out. He's unconscious. Right? So everybody's like, well, he still has sensation. Yeah, he still has a reflex, but he's not
Conscious.
he's not conscious.
Like having a wet dream.
If anything, he don't know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what happened. We'll be right back. All right. So we back. So they done got the father drunk and they have taken full advantage. So let's see what happens in this matter of judgment.
And they made their father drink wine that night also. And he was drunk. And the younger arose and lay with him. And he knew not in her lying down, nor in her rising up. And the two daughters of Lot became with child by their father. And the elder brought forth a son. And she called his name Moab.
This is how Moab gets here. Moab is here. Okay? They have their land. Can't touch it. This is what it is. And next.
Because from her father she had conceived.
Okay.
He is the father of the Moabite unto this day. And the younger also brought forth a son, and she called his name Bar-Ami.
So this is Bar-Ami.
Because he was the son of her father.
Son of the father, Bar-Ami. And they live here in where?
Ammon.
Ammon. Next.
He is the father of the Ammonite people unto this day.
So that's where we are. And we are here with our family. So as one time Lot lived with Abraham, now we live with Lot. Now, any problem the Most High have with them and how they came about, I leave that up to him. That is none of my business. It ain't for me to go rekindle it up and trying to make something that it's not. It's not for me to go and marry into and do all of that. I'm here to just get my foot in and do what I need to do to get my people from this phase to the next phase without any heavy casualties. Moving right along.
And Abraham went on from thence to the land of the south.
So Abraham goes to the south.
And dwelt between Rechem and Shagra.
And dwelt between Rechem and Shagra. Okay, let's figure out where he's dwelling as we read along.
And had his habitation in Gerar.
So he is in Gerar. Now we drove past Gerar many times. Okay, so you traveling down from Hebron and Nablus, you travel southwards, you come to Gerar. Okay, next.
And Abraham said concerning Sarah, his wife.
So now he said concerning his wife.
She is my sister.
She is my sister.
And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah.
And Abu Malak son of the king, says, "You took my son, you took the wife in Gerar." Now, Abu or Abimelech, not his name. His name missing. Why his name missing? Because he's Nephilim. It's a no importance. So, in the future, when I talk about what happened in the going down to the house of bondage of slaves, it will be the president. Who? The president. You won't remember nothing. We're not going to remember sports, singers, nothing. None of it will matter. Moving on.
And a word came from before Yah unto Abimelech.
So now, the Most High getting ready to sit down and talk to Abimelech. Now, you know the Most High not talking directly. He's sending the message through a vehicle. So this vehicle particularly is going to be a dream, right? What's giving him this dream? The angel, and they send the message into your head. You get vivid, clear picture. You see now real good. And what happened?
In the dream of the night, and said to him, Behold, thou diest.
Mosai said, you will die. No, listen, no chaser, no smoothness,
No warming up.
no warm-ups, nothing.
Straight.
You die.
Makes you think, was Michael the one? Because, it's Frail because he's straight.
Very straight.
He's very straight to the point.
No message to this, nothing. You die. Continue.
Because of the woman whom thou hast carried away, and she a man's wife.
Because of this reason, here's the judgment of the court. You carried this woman away, and she's a man's wife. Go ahead.
But Abimelech had not come nigh to defile her.
But Abimelech had not come to touch Sarah. Now, I want you to pay attention because a lot of people just don't understand this notion. The Most High is not all for the men and not for the women. You see? So he's not all on one side and not on the other. And he's not all for the women and not for the men.
No.
He deals with each one accordingly. As long as Sarah is moving under Abraham's instruction, Sarah is covered. Sarah ain't got no complaints. Sarah ain't got no bright ideas. Sarah not running the show. As a matter of fact, the last time Sarah thought something, she almost got herself incinerated when she met with the authority coming from the voice of the Most High. And it was talking to Abraham. She got checked and then lied to the Most High. The Most High took
offense to that.
Actually, he took no recourse to the lies she told. Nothing. The angel just told her, fear not.
But you did laugh.
But you did laugh. She only opened her mouth to laugh. But the Most High knew not only what she was, that she laughed, he knew what she was laughing about, what she had said unto herself. And when the Most High began to question Abraham about what she got going on, off to the side. Remember, they did not go in the tent. He had to come out and go to them, and the Most High still knew everything, and she got checked. Oh. She knew then, this is not a man, and he's not to be played with. He is to be feared. And she's walking in the way. And that walk, she is preserved. Husband there, husband not there. There is a preservation. Right? So now let's continue.
But Abimelech had not come nigh to defile her. And he said, well, it says, and he said, Lord. So should I say Allah in this case?
Yeah, you can say it, yes.
And he said, Allah, shall the son of a people who hath not sinned, and whom it is right to absolve in the judgment, be killed?
Okay. So he asked the Most High a question. Is it right that the son who has not done this sin be killed? Just let me check.
Did he not tell me she is my sister? And did she not say also, he is my brother? In the truthfulness of my heart and the innocency of my hands have I done this.
So in the truthfulness of my heart and in the innocence of my hand have I done this. Okay, I wouldn't have taken her if I knew this was his wife. Now I want you to know the Most High is doing this on purpose. There is no other way about it. This on purpose. He's putting Abraham in these situations. This is a test. What? No. I'm covering this and I'm showing that I'm covering this. And when the bad things happen, the outcome is in favor of Abraham. The outcome.
Right.
Because he's doing what I said do when I say do it. Continue.
And the word of Yahweh said to him in a dream.
So now the Most High speaking to Abimelech in a dream, right? And he's going to let him know now, according to his response. So this is one of them dreams you wake up in the middle of the night, you go back and it continues.
Oh, yes.
Right? Continue, watch this.
Before me also it is manifest that in the truthfulness of thy heart thou didst this. And so restrained I thee from sinning before me. Therefore I would not permit thee to come near her. And now let the wife of the man return, for he is a prophet.
Whoa! Now the Most High dropping titles.
Yeah, I don't think they really know what a prophet is.
So a prophet is one who walks in the instructions of the Most High, first and foremost, purely and perfectly for himself. Then secondly, teaches others to walk in that way with him. Okay? Now there's two types. So within this word prophet, there is messengers who come from the first and early days, right? And they write down letters and messages to come to us in the latter days. Now the messenger has to do and say. You heard what I said? He has to hear, do, and say. In the latter days, you only have to hear and do. The only one saying is the teacher who has the understanding of what was already said. This is the relationship. So since you cannot be the first ones, you can only be the last ones. So that means all the other people walking around with the title of prophet, they are all liars.
Ecstatic worship.
You cannot profit your way into the lottery numbers. That's not what it's for. To know what's going to happen next Tuesday. You divination. What's next?
For he is a prophet. He will pray for thee, and thou shalt live. But if thou wilt not let her return, know that dying thou shalt die, thou and all who are thine.
Oh, I'm going to smite everybody. If you don't give this woman back, you and everybody going to die with you and around you. Now this coming fresh
Oppressed.
off of the heels of Sodom and Gomorrah. So this still fresh in everybody's mind. So he sees this and he's like, I don't want none of that. I don't want to die. Okay? So let's see what else happens.
And Abimelech arose in the morning
He arose in the morning
and called all his servants
and called all of them. Everybody get in here. Get up. Up. And what else?
and told all these words before them.
And told them all the words.
And the men feared greatly.
And the men feared. What they didn't want to die. If we don't get this woman out of here, we are all gonna die. Now go get that man I got this woman from and bring him here to me.
And Abimelech called Abraham and said, What hast thou done to us? And in what have I sinned against thee?
What have you done to us? And in what have I sinned against thee? This man talking with this man's wife in his house that he took from him.
Yeah. Let's see what kind of fear
Okay.
got from this.
So now Abraham have to give this man, a response within reason. Let's see what he said.
For thou hast brought upon me and upon my kingdom a great sin. Thou hast wrought with me works that are not right.
You have brought upon me all of this sin, and you have brought works upon me that are not right. Okay. So what do you say now?
And Abimelech said to Abraham, What hast thou seen that thou did this thing?
Why did you do this to me?
What have you seen that you did this to me?
What I do to you?
All right. Let's see what happens.
And Abraham said,
All right.
Because I said in my heart,
Because I said in my heart,
the fear of Yah is not in this place.
the fear of Yah, the fear of Allah is not in this place which we have to come to. Because you don't fear Allah. You do what you want.
That's right.
You do what you want, when you want, how you want. Every man according to how he sees fit. Okay.
And they will kill me for the sake of my wife.
And they will kill me just to take my wife. Okay.
But in truth, she is my sister,
But in truth, she is my sister.
the daughter of my father's brother.
The daughter of my father's brother. So this is his cousin. The daughter of his father's brother.
But not of the kindred of my mother.
But not of the same mother.
And she became my wife.
And now she's my wife. It's his cousin. Okay? Now he has to specify this because of what was going on in Sodom. You know,
Right.
they was swinging over there. You know, they was doing all kind of
Perverse
and
everything.
freaky deakiness. But that's what they want to do. If you over there in Mitzrayim, the West, you got the same lifestyle. They keep commandeering more letters of the alphabet.
Yeah.
I mean, how long is it? First you took 5, then you done just added them more on.
What you mean 5? I grew up back in my day. We only had 4.
When I started, it was 3. You was gay.
Man,
Yeah,
wow.
it was a gay or you was
No, they started adding on the rest. Then it's gay, then not this, it's too much. But you guys are in the country where this is permissible. Your government made this okay. According to their God. Just want you to know. I don't care what religion they came, every religion, all of them have an angel appointed. Okay? And every angel that is appointed, appoint an idol. And every idol appointed is running its government. It's all tied together. So the government is the largest idol. Go to your capital city, you'll see they have monument and statue and this and that to signify
who they serve.
who they serve.
And as long as you're still there,
You are part of it.
You're a partaker with them. You're not separate because you're
Israel. All right, next. Go ahead, sis, read.
For thou hast brought upon me. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what hast thou seen that thou didst this thing? And Abraham said, okay, we already went there. I'm sorry. Verse code 2013. And it was when they sought to turn me aside to the worship of idols.
Okay, so what had happened was, what's that happened was,
Yeah.
they tried to convert me to worship these idols that y'all worship around here.
Sound familiar.
And what happened?
And I went forth from my father's house.
And I left because I wasn't going to do that. You know, I didn't do it when they put me in the fire, and I'm not doing it after, and I'm just not doing it. So now I'm just leaving Babylon altogether. So when I went to leave,
That I said to her, this is the kindness thou shalt do me in every place to which we come.
so he said, this is the kindness which you will do unto me in every place which we come. So I told her to do this because y'all all like this. All of you. Every man who want to take another man's woman. You want to sleep with another man's wife.
Yeah.
So what he said to say?
Say concerning me, he is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and restored Sarah, his wife, to him.
And so he took some sheep and gave Sarah, his wife, back to Abraham.
And Abimelech said, behold, my land is before you, and wherever is right in your eyes, dwell.
Okay, here's some sheep. Here's the woman. Behold, I've given you not only your wife back, I've given you something on top of this infraction. Because lie or not, I stole this woman. And so now I have to give you something to make good. Take this, take sheep. Notice he don't give him money, paper and bills. He gave him something of substance, his sheep. Take sheep, and he gave him land. Wherever is in my land that you see fit, dwell there. We'll be right back. All right? So Isaac is receiving the covenant. Finish reading.
And the son of the handmaid shall not be genealogized after thee. But the son of the handmaid have I set for a predatory people. Liam, because he is thy son.
So you have to understand, he's like, I'm not separating them because of this action. I'm separating them to set a trap for another people because he is your son. Who is the trap for? It's obviously not for Isaac. And this little thing that he's doing, this little strangeness, leave it. It is a cover, a trap. A trap works like this. 1 second. A trap works like this. I set the snare, right?
Yes.
What I'm going to catch the animal in.
Yep.
And I cover it to make it appear as if nothing is wrong and nothing is there. So that whatever walk past, it will catch it. This not a snare for the house of Isaac.
Snare for somebody else.
It is a snare for another people. This why no matter what these Western civilizations do, they cannot gain control in the area. Because he made this one tricky. He's a wild ass. You cannot make water with him. He find a way to overturn it. He find a way to get out. He find a way. He cannot be contained. But this is part of the Most High's plan.
So those who sit back of our people having an evil eye to our brothers, you're wrong.
Exactly.
Like you said, it's the little things.
Exactly.
It's the little things.
It's the little things. Now, the Most High is not done with this woman or this son.
No.
He have another way for him to take. He needs him to go in this way.
Yes.
So he's causing this division, but not for the destruction. You understand? He's causing this because Ishmael have to go this way with his prophet. He have to go this way and come into the path and meet his prophets. And Isaac have to go his way and come with his prophets. This is the way of the customs and the traditions. It is indigenous to the land and cannot be removed. And this is the way of the law. And no matter where it goes, it can always return. All right. So now we're going to take a look at Isaac's covenant. Because you don't know what Isaac's covenant is. You thought that was Isaac's covenant. That's not Isaac's covenant. But we're going to tell you Isaac's covenant. Now I got to figure out how they decided to spell it in this book.
I think it's Y-I-T. Try that. Q-Y-T. Yeah, this. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Abraham said to Yah, oh, that Ishmael might be before you. And Sarah also, and I will bear my covenant with him. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, and he did the circumcision. Now we have done that. Don't mind me, I'm just doing a little search because I want you to know. Bingo. Okay? So, Jubilees chapter 16 and verse 3. And we told Sarah her the name of her son, as his name is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets. So his name is already written. You see how it's already written there?
Yes, sir.
So it didn't matter what you want to call him.
That's right. It's already written.
It's already written down. So even if you call him something else, it's going to be changed to this anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So it's Yitzhak. Okay? See? Yitzhak. Right? Which is the same thing because there is no J, it's Y.
Yeah.
And we returned to her at a set time she would have conceived. And in this month, Yah executed his judgment on Sodom. Okay, I could skip that. Okay. And verse 12. And in the middle of the 5th month, he moved from there and dwelled at the well of Oath. And in the middle of the 6th month, Yah visited Sarah and did unto her as he had spoken, and she conceived. So this is the 6th month. In their time, this is the month Adar before Nisan. Okay? And the time of which Yah had spoken to Abraham On the festival of the first fruits of the harvest was Isaac born. So she conceives in Nisan.
She gives birth.
She gives birth in the month after Marchesvin, in the middle of the month. Your feast of the first fruits. Then 9 months later, 10 months, counting new moons, but 9 months later. Okay? And Abraham circumcised him on the 8th day, and he was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever. In the 6th year, on the 4th week, we came to Abraham to the well of oath, and we appeared to him. And as we had told to Sarah that we should return to her, and she would conceive a son. And we returned in the 7th month and found Sarah with child. And we blessed him. So he's born. He's born.
Yes.
Isaac born in the month after Marchesvin. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's the month before Tammuz, but after Marchesvin. He's born in the month after Marchesvin. They don't come to check on him until the 7th month. What month is this? This is the month Nisan. This around the time of the Passover. And found Sarah with child, and we blessed him, and we announced to him all the things which had been decreed concerning him, that he should not die until he beget 6 sons more, and should see them before he died. But in Yitzhak should his name and seed be called. So he's telling Abraham, listen, you're not going to die yet. It's still written for you to have 6 more children. But in Isaac, Yitzhak, should his name and his seed be called. So the Ishmaelites, the Yishmaeli, called Yitzmaeli. Why are not the children of Israel, who are of the same covenant of Isaac and Jacob, calling themselves Hebrew Israelites?
When that's not what we.
Not what you call. It says right here, Jubilees chapter 16 and verse, was it 15? Yes, verse 16. That Yitzhak, in Yitzhak should his name and his seed be called. I'm an Yitzhaki. Yitzhaki. I don't care. So I promise you, watch what I tell you. Okay? We are Yitzhaki, but of the seed of Israel. Yitzhaki, Bani Yisrael. Okay? But what tribe? You're Yitzhaki, Terabin tribe. I'm from here. This is my address. But you don't want to hear that. Watch the Hebrew Israelites die with the rest.
Yeah, because wasn't it all and them, the Nephilims that called
Hold on.
them?
Call yourself Judah or whatever. I promise you. Where your address is and where your classification of what nation you belong to, you have to get the land of that nation and build it before you call it anything. But of your tribe, of your covenant, of your blood, Yitzhaki, you are supposed to be called. If you call yourself Hebrew Israelite, Most High says, this is the problem. I left that for the curse. That's why he let these raggedy Khazarians, Ukrainians, pretend to be Jewish in this land over here today and call themselves Yehudi. That's why he let them do it, to curse the name. What? This was never the covenanted name for anyone to come, to arrive, or to function with. See?
Yes, sir.
Yitzhak, ain't that what it said?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. It goes back here. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. 7 months.
See? Shall be called. And all the seed of his sons should be Gentiles and be reckoned with
The
Gentiles. That's not means that they Nephilim. It's just saying, listen, this right here, this is my choice. This one is going to be up from this now will come what will become closest to me from this. Okay, he's making another separation, another division. Not that they're not with us, not that they don't have their land, their rights, their privileges, they have everything that's theirs according to their law. But from this one now, I'm joining this one up closer. I'm building a new level. There's a new floor now. We're going to go up a level. Right? But from the sons of Yizhak, one, the Most High, one should become a Kodesh seed, a holy seed, and should not be reckoned among Gentiles. Meaning, this is the holiest seed, this is the holiest people. This is why you can't mingle. Because once you do, you corrupt yourself. Holy is to be set apart. Set apart literally means that. To be separated from among the others. Right? And should not be reckoned among the Gentiles. For he should become the portion of the Most High. He, the one, Jacob's house, will become the portion of the Most High, and all his seed had fallen into the possession of Yah, that it should be unto Yah a people for his possession. So now, when you are the possession of the Most High, what you supposed to be doing?
Following his instructions.
What you supposed to be doing when you're the people of the Most High?
Following the instructions.
Oh, but I'm always the one wrong here. I just want you to know. Everybody can read from everybody's book. I'm reading from Only Hours, and all of a sudden, nobody is doing with the instructions. I give an order with clear and concise understanding, and to get people to follow is like,
Pulling teeth.
it's worse. It's like trying to uproot a building. And I'm out here with a spoon.
I was gonna say finding that hay in a needle stack.
A hay and a needle
A
stack.
needle and hay.
No, but see, I like to use hay in the needle stack because it's
'Cause-
pointier and it's more.
Because you can find a needle in a haystack.
It'll point out.
You just need a
Trying to find
magnet.
that. Think about it though. That hay though, in a needle stack. That's how I reversed it.
Yeah, it's a little harder.
Yeah,
usually.
yeah.
You can't get the hay
Yeah.
out so easy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now they don't want to follow the
See?
instructions.
That it should be unto Yah a people for his possession above all nations, and that it should become
A kingdom.
a kingdom
And
priest and the Kodesh nation, a holy nation. And we went our way. That's Isaac's covenant, which you don't know.
Right.
So I don't deal with Jews. As you can see, I'm in the kingdom of Jerusalem. You ask me what people am I am Yitzhaki. I don't care. This not the Hebrew. This not Hebrew Israelite. Nothing. And the only way to be Yitzhaki, you have to come to this land and you have to buy it.
You can't be a nation without the land.
Because now you have a king who has a birthright, and we have the instructions, right? I have the instructions, right? You only have to choose to participate as a holy people, which goes right back around to my first thing I talked about this morning. What power do I have over a righteous man?
None.
None. However, to the wicked, I say the same thing the Most High said to the son of the king of the Nessalims, Abimelech. You will die. That always comes full circle. And I'm not even, I'm just dabbled in it.
Yes, sir.
This is dabble. I can go inside Jubilees for everything that we've been reading, but I don't need that because the foundation of the understanding is to figure out one, who you are, two, where you belong, three, how do you get back? 3 parts. Because if you don't do any one of those 3, you can forget about step 4. Because you will die. You have to do those.
Yeah. They don't want to walk this out on Yah's term. They want to walk it out on their terms.
So
and it ain't gonna work.
I'm closing out with that because Isaac is a footnote.
Yes.
I am here honoring Isaac and his covenant, Abraham and his covenant, and Jacob and Jacob's covenant, as well as everything else that was given to Moses upon the Mount of Sinai. And I have traced down all of the instructions from all the random places where we have been and will be as a people.
I tell you.
But I'm wrong. So, you want me to come with you and worship idols. That's what you always try to do. Everybody mad at me because they want me to move in their way. You all are moving in the way of the world, and you want me to move in that way. That doesn't work. Not for me. That work for you? No, okay. So what you got to say? How was your day? Thanks for joining us today, by the way.
Yes.
It's nice to have you. The people want to see more of you, but you be like in the back.
Yeah, you're right, because I got a house to take care of, got to clean, got to cook, so or maybe they don't know because they be never mind. they don't know. Yeah, I tend to my household.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's good for you having us. So everybody has asked, I get this a lot, what does kifaya mean? It's crown for the head. That's kifaya, And Arabia is journey, right? Hajj, journey of the Arabians. Rabbi Sheikh is the chief of the kings, chief of princes, chief of the sheikhs, chief judge. So that's what the names mean. I'm good. This was a great day. We got a lot covered. We're going to cover a lot more. We are now at Isaac. We got a few more steps, right? We got to deal with the closeout of Ishmael and his process. Then we got a few more steps before Isaac and Ishmael and Jacob and the reunion, because there is a reunion between these two that takes place. And so that's our time for today.
Yes. It was good. Very, very good.
So we're going to get this out. We're going to get it posted. It's Ramadan. So Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak. Enjoy your feast time to my brother.
Yes.
All right. That's it. One step at a time, one day at a time.
One.
The date is March 4th, 2022, and after years of deliberation, both Georgia and Bosnia and Herzegovina have officially been accepted as full NATO partners. Ukraine now reinvigorates its push for NATO membership, while Russia has for the last 6 months warned of military action. Alarmed by what it views as encroachment of NATO on its borders, Russia at last responds to the ascension of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Georgia by massing forces on its western border. Russia is gambling that the other NATO nations will reconsider admitting the 2 new members, or at least not be willing to go to war over the defense of brand new members to the alliance. Russia, however, has completely underestimated the solidarity of the alliance, realizing that NATO is in essence a worthless entity unless Article 5 of the treaty is immediately enforced. NATO warns Russia that an attack on one ally is considered an attack on all allies. To reinforce the point, NATO troops are sent into Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, the alliance's most vulnerable members given their direct proximity to Russia. Russia, however, sees this as an unacceptable show of force, and the move proves to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Without warning, Russian armor pours into Latvia and Lithuania, linking up with forces in Kaliningrad. World War III has officially begun. For the first month of fighting, Russian forces push as far west as Poland, but the offensive grinds to a halt as NATO members finish mobilizing and their resistance solidifies. With American troops and equipment making landfall in France and Germany, NATO is now launching vicious counterattacks against Russia's forces in Poland. In the Pacific, the American Navy steams towards Russia's eastern coast, bringing with it a Marine Expeditionary Force meant to open a second front in the war and split Russia's forces. Russia is faced with a losing proposition and decides to gamble. It authorizes a single nuclear strike against Berlin, betting that while European NATO members may retaliate with their limited nuclear arsenals, the Americans won't risk the destruction of their cities to support their European allies. The date is now April 12th, 0205 hours Zulu. American and Chinese infrared recon satellites both pick up the telltale fiery plume of an ICBM launch from a missile farm in the south of Russia. 2 minutes later, the American president is awoken from his sleep and given the news. Russia has launched a single nuclear device, unknown payload, likely target in Western Europe. The U.S. Air Force's Global Strike Command has for weeks been flying nuclear alert missions with its fleet of B-52 bombers, maintaining a nuclear-armed force in the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as its predecessor, the Strategic Air Command, once did for decades during the Cold War. With the detected launch of a Russian nuclear weapon, a priority flash is immediately dispatched to the airborne forces and alert forces on the ground. Flight crews stationed overseas in Japan, on the west coast of the United States, and in Europe all review their single integrated operational plan, which lays out the exact flight route, refueling track, and targets for each of the bomber crews. Most aircraft have 2 primary targets, with 2 alternate targets to be struck should they be unable to make it to their primary targets. Within minutes, the crews are in the air, and those already on alert patrols immediately set their course for the positive control turnaround point, a pre-planned point near Russia where the air crews will automatically turn around unless they receive an order to strike. At missile sites across the American Midwest, the giant concrete shutters that protect the buried missiles inside their launch facilities are automatically rolled back, and the security forces personnel tasked with defending those sites go on full alert. Their orders are to defend the silos until every missile has been launched, after which they are to escort surviving missile crews out and back to a rendezvous point well away from the missile farm. For these sites will be a priority target for incoming Russian missiles. Inside underground bunkers, missile operators rehearse launch procedures, each man responsible for a group of missiles. The entire system only requires 2 out of 4 of the operators to authenticate a launch order, just in case 2 of the men get cold feet about launching a nuclear Armageddon and refuse their orders. Deep in the Arctic, Pacific, and Atlantic Ocean, the U.S.'s extremely low-frequency communication system flashes a nuclear alert to America's ballistic missile submarine fleet. Each sub carries 24 Trident missiles, and each missile carries up to 8 independently targetable warheads with a yield of 475 kilotons. America's fleet of hunter-killer attack submarines have for weeks been stalking and eliminating Russia's aging ballistic missile submarines, and the survivors are bottled up near the Russian shore where they can be protected with shore-based firepower and anti-submarine patrols. Now, America's attack submarines set course for Russia's coast, and their mission is to eliminate Russia's surviving nuke boats, though it will cost America's submarine fleet dearly, as Russia's Air Force and Surface Navy fiercely defend their surviving ballistic missile subs. At 0209 hours, the American president is told that the American recon assets have positive confirmation of a nuclear detonation in Berlin. The Russians have fired an older single-warhead ICBM, yet with a yield large enough to completely destroy the city of 3.6 million. On a hotline direct with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the president is told that Britain is already issuing a fire order to retaliate for the attack. The president knows that the attack on Berlin was a gamble by the Russians, who don't believe that the US will risk an escalation and attacks on its own cities to defend Europe. An emergency flash is dispatched by the US's ELF communication system to a lurking Ohio-class submarine currently on station deep beneath the ice of the North Pole. After authenticating the order, the sub breaches through the 5-foot-thick ice and the door on a single dorsally mounted launch tube props open. The navigation system on the Trident II missile located inside the launch tube is activated, and a mission trajectory is automatically loaded into the flight computer. Then, a steam generator ignites a solid-grain rocket motor, which feeds superheated exhaust into a tank of chilled water. The water evaporates and expands, forcing the missile within the launch tube to be launched upwards and out. After which, the first stage motor ignites and the missile screams upward and towards space. An astro-inertial guidance system on board the missile uses star positioning to fine-tune the accuracy of its trajectory, as GPS has long been unreliable due to Russian attacks on NATO satellites. The Russians have bet wrong, and minutes later, 8 475 kiloton warheads detonate over the Russian missile facility which launched the Berlin attack. Simultaneously, a British attack strikes the cities of Ekaterinburg and Novosibirsk, with a population of 1.5 million or 3 million together. NATO has responded in kind to the Berlin attack, and America has both punished Russia's nuclear forces for the attack and shown that it will stand with its allies. In the halls of the Kremlin, a desperate power struggle plays out. 3 million Russians lie dead, and the US has obliterated one of Russia's major nuclear missile facilities, destroying dozens of ICBMs in place. Russian ballistic submarines, considered to be the most survivable element of the nuclear triad, have also been decimated by American attack submarines, though the US has lost 12 subs of its own in its quest to eliminate the remaining Russian boats. Military leadership clashes with the civilian leadership and demands a retaliatory attack on American missile facilities, with US reinforcements in force on the Western Front and Russians starting to lose ground in Poland. Battlefield commanders have for the last week been requesting a release on strategic nuclear weapons to use against American infantry and tanks. The fierce debate on the use of tactical weapons is reignited, and when further nuclear attacks are denied, Russian military leadership stages a stunning coup. The Russian president is removed from power, and Russian commanders receive authorization for the use of a dozen tactical weapons against NATO forces in Europe. Within a half hour, NATO troop concentrations in Poland are hammered by low-yield nuclear attacks, killing tens of thousands. American reinforcements, fresh from the States and currently massing around the Ramstein military facilities in Germany, are hit with 3 tactical devices. The Marine Expeditionary Force in the Pacific, staging out of Japan, is also struck by a single device, as are the 2 naval carrier battle groups supporting the invasion. By 9 a.m., American military forces have suffered more casualties than all wars since World War II combined, and the ability for NATO to push back Russian forces in Poland is eliminated. While Russia has maintained an inventory of low-yield tactical nuclear weapons to counter America's overwhelming conventional firepower advantage, the United States has not kept an active inventory of tactical devices for decades. This leaves the American president with few options for a comparable retaliatory attack. While the yields on America's airborne submarine and ground-launched nuclear devices can be dialed down, there's no way to broadcast that fact to the Russians, and little chance they'd believe it. An attack with traditional ICBMs, submarine-launched missiles, or airborne nuclear cruise missiles will seem to Russia like a full-blown attack and risk escalating the war into a total nuclear confrontation. Yet the president has little choice. Tens of thousands of American service members are dead. U.S. forces in Europe have been badly damaged by the attacks, and both carrier battle groups supporting the Pacific invasion are reporting major losses of ships, aircraft, and personnel. The Marine Invasion Force in Okinawa is combat ineffective. 4 divisions reporting over 55% casualties each. Resigning himself to a list of terrible options, the president orders a retaliatory attack using ground-based ICBMs. The Air Force's Global Strike Command nuclear bomber fleet is to approach and hold at their failsafe points, ready to proceed to their targets should Russia retaliate again. At Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, a launch order is authorized by the 2-man Minuteman launch crew, and a single Minuteman III missile roars into the night sky. 60 seconds later, the second stage of the missile ignites, separating from the spent first booster stage. Adjustments using the second stage thrust vector control keeps the missile on its course, and another 60 seconds later, the flight computer separates the second stage and fires the engine on the third and final stage. By now, the missile has reached space, and as the third stage engine burns out, reverse thrust separates the 3 warheads and their penetration aids from the launch vehicle. Some of the penetration aids explode, showering space with millions of pieces of reflective aluminum, which wreak havoc on radar used by missile interceptors, while other aids simulate the real warheads and serve as dummy targets for any Russian interceptors. With no real Russian anti-ballistic missile defense programs, though, the warheads and the dummies all re-enter the Earth's atmosphere completely unharmed. 23 minutes after launch, 3 separate 475-kiloton nuclear explosions rock Eastern Europe. Russian forces in Poland are obliterated by 2 nuclear strikes many times greater in magnitude than those used against NATO forces, while yet another Russian nuclear missile facility is struck by the 3rd warhead. With American weapons targeting their missile fields and systematically eliminating Russia's ability to respond to nuclear attacks, the final order is given for a full-blown nuclear response. American reconnaissance satellites and electronic eavesdropping assets all pick up the telltale signs of preparatory operations for nuclear launch across Russia's remaining missile farms. The order to attack is mirrored in the U.S., and launch officers in North Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana receive the order to launch. Simultaneously, American airborne assets receive an emergency flash, which, when authenticated, authorizes the air crews to proceed to their targets with full nuclear release. American ballistic missile submarines breach through the thick polar ice, or rise to 25 feet below the waves of the Pacific in the North Sea. As Russian missiles clear their silos, it's America's nuclear ballistic missile subs which launch the first wave of retaliatory attacks, almost as fast as Russian ground forces. American submarine-launched missiles target Russia's remaining missile fields in a desperate hope to destroy them before they can finish launch operations. But for the most part, the American strikes fail to stop the launches. Secondary military targets are then struck, with major Russian military bases, supply depots, troop staging areas, and airfields all being obliterated in nuclear fire within 10 minutes of the start of the Russian attack. As Russia's ICBMs climb into the atmosphere, a wave of American ballistic missile defense systems immediately spring into action. Having spent billions on ballistic missile defense since the 1980s, all in a bid to make Reagan's Star Wars concept a reality, America now attacks the incoming missiles with a variety of tools. Airborne laser systems in Europe and flying in the Pacific managed to strike at a handful of ICBMs during their vulnerable ascent stage, superheating the missile body from hundreds of miles away with a powerful aircraft-mounted laser system. As the missiles climb into space, ballistic missile defense sites across the west coast of the United States launch their ground-based interceptors. Using a powerful radar, the interceptors scream toward the incoming missiles in a bid to destroy them through kinetic impact before they can re-enter the atmosphere. The Russian missiles, however, immediately disperse their own penetration aids, and a shower of billions of pieces of aluminum chaff wreaks hell on American interceptor radar. The interceptors switch to their visual interception systems, and advanced computer programs frantically scramble to identify the incoming warheads visually, ignoring the clouds of chaff. Half of the interceptors miss their targets. The other half manage to strike, yet of the successful intercepts, a full third are of dummy warheads. To make matters worse, the US only has an inventory of about 60 interceptors ready to fire, and are completely overwhelmed by an incoming horde of hundreds of independently targeted warheads. 24 minutes after launch, the West Coast is the first hit. 1 megaton strikes against Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, and others obliterate the most populated cities on the American West Coast. A follow-on 450 kiloton strike destroys the Los Angeles harbor area, along with tens of thousands of homes and the naval base at San Diego. Edwards Air Force Base in the California desert is struck by two 450-kiloton strikes, as is Vandenberg Air Force Base. 3 minutes later, nuclear impacts strike the American Midwest. North American Aerospace Defense Command at Peterson Air Force Base is incinerated by a megaton blast, and the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is struck by two ground penetration munitions, though the blasts managed to do little damage to the deeply buried facility. Strikes continue to roll eastwards, and a saturation of 300 kiloton strikes decimates the American Farm Belt. These munitions are programmed to be ground bursts, resulting in the scattering of millions of tons of highly radioactive dirt across America's most fertile farmland. Another 3 minutes later, and the East Coast is struck by the Russian ICBMs. Washington is obliterated by two separate megaton blasts, as is New York City, the financial heart of America. The American president, however, is safe from the nuclear blasts. He has long ago boarded what is nicknamed the Doomsday Plane, an airborne command post from which he can still manage America's remaining military and civilian forces. With satellite and ground communications completely eradicated, a fleet of Air Force planes now makes up a global command and control system, linking up surviving military forces with the president. Soon, his plane will land at an intact airfield, and he'll be helicoptered out to his surviving supercarrier, from which he will continue to command the survivors of America's military and oversee the reconstruction, if any possible, of what remains of America, all from the safety of the Atlantic Ocean.